You're listening to The Coffee Hour. I'm Andy Bates.
I'm Sarah Golseth.
It is a good day when we get to talk with our missionary friends as they are serving in the context in which they're given to serve. Today, we head to Africa. Today, we're going to talk with Vance and Linda Becker. They serve the Lord in Kenya. Vance serves as a teacher at Matango Lutheran Theological Seminary, and Linda teaches adults and children and works with deaconesses in training. Thank you so much for joining us today, the Reverend Vance and Linda Becker. Thanks for being our guests on the Coffee Hour.
Yeah,
we're very happy to be with you.
So tell us about the work that you were sent to do in Kenya.
Okay, well, you described it well. I was sent to be a theological educator at Nima Lutheran College. That's at Matango, which is rural western Kenya. And they train pastors, deaconists, evangelists, etc., for the fast-growing church in East Africa from Kenya and from nearby countries. Now, that being said, we have to say that right now we're actually in Tanzania, where we've been studying Swahili in order to prepare us. And the school at Matango, because of COVID, like so many places, is not in session currently, nor are we able to get into the country currently. But we are, well, just hoping. We're in the unknown zone, and in God's time, we will be there and beginning classes.
Hey, you haven't been on the field for very long. Have you actually been in Kenya yet during your time on the field to actually do any teaching or meeting of people at the seminary there?
We have been in Kenya just for a short while at the headquarters in Nairobi for some training. We have not been yet able to go out to Matango and meet people there, although Missouri Synod has a professor who's been there for a good while. I have been able to meet him when he was back in the States. That's Tom Odland.
Mm-hmm. Linda, what is the work that you have been doing or will be doing when you're able to actually be present in Matango?
Well, what we've been doing, we came to Tanzania, rural Tanzania, in the end of January, and we've been there since then. And the reason we came here was to learn Swahili. And so we have been taking Swahili lessons and learning how to communicate. And then because of COVID, we're still here, even though our online our classes are done. We ended up finishing our classes online because the teachers weren't coming back out to the camp where we're at.
That's because we're quarantining ourselves here. To avoiding all contact with town.
And right now we're spending the time reviewing all that Swahili that hasn't quite gotten into my brain yet, and taking some other online classes so that we'll be ready to go whenever we get to go to Kenya.
One thing I have been able to do is there were some other families that have been here with us, and was able to organize some devotions for the small community here that's isolated themselves.
Thanks be to God that you still have opportunities to proclaim the word. What does this look like what's the outlook for the community in which you were hoping to serve, you were planning to serve in the not so distant future? What's the outlook like in that community right now in Kenya?
You know, that's as unknown as just about anything. Their hope is that they might be able to open up in order to finish the semester that was started. If so, the plan is that I would get there and finish a class that was started by another professor who is now back in the States. That's not certain. If not that, we hope at least to be able to begin the full semester on time. But at this point, when you say God willing, it is with great seriousness.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. What's the outlook like in the community where you're currently residing in Tanzania? You mentioned that you're quarantining just to be safe. What's the outlook like in that community presently?
Well, the community we're in is a very small community. It's like a camp. Anyone who's from Minnesota knows Camp Omega, and it's a lot like that. We're out in the woods here in a very safe place, about 20 minutes drive from Oringa, which is the nearest large town. And as far as we know, the villages that are close to here are doing fine. We're not getting a whole lot of news because we're quarantined, so we're not hearing much from what's going on in the outside world.
Although apparently the COVID cases are on the increase in Oringa. We have a notice that actually the country of Tanzania stopped reporting a couple of weeks ago, which is not necessarily a good sign. So things are still on the upswing here in Eastern Africa.
How has daily life been for you since you got there? What has anything changed since you've been there, or what has it been like for you in this daily living in this camp?
It's actually it's much like it was at the beginning. It's pretty rural and isolated. It has changed in that our teachers, as of about 6-7 weeks ago, were not able to come to the camp anymore because of shutdown. And so we've had to have classes with them online. And as you hosts know, getting online here in rural Africa is not an easy thing to do. It's pretty iffy, but we were able to finish classes. And now it's pretty much, work on our own. We have just a few resources here, wait it out.
Yep, and every day we get up and we review the Swahili. We spend 2 to 3 hours in the morning translating Bible stories and learning new vocabulary, trying to continue to increase what our teachers have taught us.
We're also taking some classes online. We're taking a missiology class through Concordia Fort Wayne. We've just started a class on adapting to foreign cultures. So we're able to continue educating ourselves using this time for that.
Yeah, so many of those things will be very useful to you in the future when you are able to get into Kenya and start teaching at Matongo. That language is so crucial to the culture and to meeting people and building relationships. You mentioned being able to lead devotions. How else are you building relationships with the people that are around you right now?
Well, I have to say there are not many people around us right now. There's another couple, Walter and Robin Steele, who will be our co-workers there in Kenya. And so we've got plenty of time to get to know them as we over our meals. It is frustrating for us, but actually, the onboarding process, which is what it's called, is actually a fairly extensive process, even without COVID and all the other things happening. It just takes time to get up to speed to do something this new for people like us, to get our feet on the ground to be able to do it well.
And there's some staff here. We have a person who cooks and another person who does the laundry. And so we're able to interact with them. And they're Tanzanians. So we, in our broken Swahili, try to converse with them as much as possible. And they're very patient and kind and helpful with our language learning.
Have you had any funny moments where you've said the wrong thing in Swahili?
Well, yeah, this was way back when we could go to town. And I was so proud of myself. And I went in and I went to the store and I asked for some juice, I thought. And the guy...
This is a cafe where we were going to have a drink.
Yeah. And the guy's eyes about popped out of his head. And I thought, what did I just ask for? So then he asked another question and he spoke back to me in English. And I realized he realized I wanted juice. Well, I told my teacher and she said, you ordered a lizard. So that's what happens when you know just a little bit.
We have great sympathy for people who have come to the United States and are not yet fluent in the language. And we appreciate the fact that around here, people are so happy that you're even trying to speak their language. that they just really appreciate it.
How can we pray for you and support you in the days ahead?
I would say the most important prayers is that as God wills, that the countries here would be able to open their borders enough that we can get to the school, that the students can get to the school. Many of them are from other countries as well, and that it's safe to continue education. And it doesn't hurt to pray too that if that doesn't happen, that God gives us creativity in ways to possibly, even without being physically present, maybe do even online work here. God has ideas in store, and we don't know what they are yet.
And also pray for our health and safety. We're in a very good place, but it never hurts to pray to keep people healthy and safe.
Absolutely. The Reverend Vance and Linda Becker served the Lord through the Lutheran Church Missouri Synod in Kenya, currently deployed to Tanzania. Thank you so much for being our guests on the Coffee Hour today and sharing your story with us. It's always a delight to talk with our missionaries.
Thank you so much.
Have a great day.
I'm Andy Bates.
I'm Sarah Golseth.
The Coffee Hour with Andy and Sarah is a production of KFUO. To support the Coffee Hour and KFUO Radio, visit KFUO.org. You can also text KFUO to 41444 or send an email to gifts@KFUO.org. And you can call us at 800-844-0524. KFUO. Christ for you, anytime, anywhere.